Murderer It. Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to The Green Room, a new show where theater professionals are going to come on and talk about their practice, process, and profession. I'm Jeremy Dobrish, director/playwright, and today we're going to be doing our 5-4 segment, 5 questions for Scott Schwartz. So, who's Scott Schwartz, and why are we talking to him? Well, Scott is a director best known for the shows Bat Boy, Gold is Balcony, and Tick, Tick, Boom. He's got an extremely strong understanding of the form of musical theater, which allows him to know what will work and what won't, and more importantly, allows him to break conventions when the situation calls for it. And this week, Scott's latest production, Rooms, a rock romance by Paul Scott Goodman and Miriam Gordon, opens off-Broadway at New World Stages. New World Stages, by the way, is also the current home of Altar Boys, which, if you haven't seen it, has some of the most exciting choreography off-Broadway. Chris Catelli's work is a great example of how a choreographer can not only elevate, but truly define a show. See also In the Heights. And New World Stages is the future home of Toxic Avenger, which looks like it's going to be a blast. But we're here to do 5-4 with Scott.
My name's Scott Schwartz, and I'm sitting in the Timeout Lounge at New World Stages on 50th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues in New York, and I'm the director of Rooms, a rock romance.
Rooms is a 2-character musical, which means either he sings, she sings, or they do a duet. As a director, how do you keep that limited palette interesting?
Well, I think that the trick is to be really focused on the story and the storytelling and figure out ways to move the actors around the stage, to use the space, to use lighting and other simple visuals to make the audience always feel like they're in a new place. One of the things I particularly like about Rooms, a rock romance, is that while it's almost through sung and the music is amazing, it feels like a play. You know, you're going to a musical, but you're really getting to know these two people in a very detailed and very intimate way. And I think that's actually a rare experience in a musical and something that audiences seem to be responding to.
You've been connected with Rooms since the beginning. What was its path from a script to an off-Broadway production?
So I started working on Rooms in 2003. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been 6 years. And I loved the show, and Paul Scott Goodman and Miriam Gordon, the writers, and I started collaborating and started kicking the show around, and we did a couple of little readings, just private readings. Finally, in 2005, we decided to apply to the New York Music Theater Festival. And so we produced that ourselves. Cost about $10,000. And people responded to that, and a young producing team named Van Hill Entertainment decided they wanted to option the show to try to bring it to commercial life in New York. 3 years passed. Van, Dean, and Hillary Cutter, the original producers, managed to get 2 regional theaters to commit to a co-production. Metro Stage in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a small theater just outside Washington, D.C., and the Jiva Theater. We were very happy in that it was received extremely well, and audiences really seemed to be responding. There were standing ovations every night, and there was a lot of excitement around the show. Then the stock market crashed. We had a plan, we had to delay that plan for financial reasons. We had a new plan, we had to delay that plan for financial reasons. And what happened along the way is producing partners needed to get involved with the show. A couple of groups, Red Griffin Media and a couple of other groups, became involved with the show and have become very central members of the producing team.
You found innovative ways to keep the show small, and you did it with little more than a door and 2 chairs. Did you find that limiting or freeing?
The show is about the characters traveling from room to room in their lives and from place to place, and it's quite cinematic. They actually travel to 3 different cities and to different places in all those cities, and we indicate that just by moving a door around and having these 2 chairs and a couple of hand props. That's a really simple physical production concept, and actually that's what I always wanted to do with the show. I feel that this show is about the actors and about the music and about the emotion, and I wanted to avoid burdening that down with too much physical production. And people seem to really respond to that because it requires the audience to use their imagination. So while that could be seen in some ways as a limitation, it's actually been incredibly freeing for me and the actors as the director, because we can make up anything we want and we can envision anything we want in our minds, and as long as we believe it, I think the audience believes it. And this decision was made not so much out of financial necessity, though it's certainly beneficial to the show to have a very simple set. It was born out of artistic desire to tell the story as simply as possible.
When people think of musicals, they think of spectacles with 40 tap dancing chorus girls, but you've made a name for yourself directing smaller, more offbeat musicals. Do you see the image of musicals changing, and what will that mean for the future of the form?
One of the things that I think is amazing in the musical theater right now is that the form is evolving and changing, and in some ways I feel crystallizing, in that crystals are breaking off in different directions. And so there are all sorts of different kinds of musicals being done nowadays. There's large, big budget spectacles, which audiences love and are fantastic. There's more esoteric, slightly avant-garde work that's maybe more from a modern opera point of view, but is still musical theater, a la some of the stuff that Adam Gettle does, Floyd Collins or Light in the Piazza, which is wonderful and people are thrilled to see. And then you have larger rock musicals, and then you have smaller pieces like Rooms, which employs a rock form to tell a story in a very detailed way. And I think what's so cool is that there's all kinds of musicals being done right now, and people are loving them, and so it's almost difficult to define the form other than that you tell a story where characters sing. That outside of that, I'm not sure there are any other rules.
Rooms is a small show, and you've managed to keep the cost low. But in these economic times, what does it take to convince people to keep coming to see innovative theater?
Well, it's very challenging, and it's particularly challenging off-Broadway right now to just simply sell tickets. One of the things that we've been very pleased about with Rooms is that word of mouth seems to be very good, in that every week we've been running, and we've only been running 3 weeks because we're in previews, but sales have gone up incrementally each week. And I think the truth of it is people have to tell their friends. If you like a show, you've got to tell your friend, you should really go see this. It's excellent. And that goes for Broadway as well. But I think you've just got to do the work. You've got to publicize it in any way you can. I mean, our production has posters in subway stations. We've run a lot of advertisements in different places. But again, there's limited money for advertising, so you also have to depend on people to just come see the show, and if they like it, to tell their friends. And that, hopefully, seems to be working right now on Rooms. Well, it's really been great talking to you, and please tell everyone you know to come see Rooms. It's a great show, and audiences are just loving it.
My thanks to Scott Schwartz. Next time, we hope to be sitting down with Lorenzo Pisoni, co-author and star of Humor Abuse, now playing at Manhattan Theater Club, which is about Lorenzo's experience growing up in the circus that his parents started. The show got brilliant reviews, and Lorenzo is a genius, so I urge you to go see it. Please subscribe to our RSS feed so you'll know as soon as the interview is posted. Now, before we go, I want to leave you with this quote from D.H. Lawrence. This quote was told to me by Joel Durfner, the composer of Signs of Life, A Tale of Terezin, which is slated to come off-Broadway in October. And by the way, if you're interested in D.H. Lawrence, you should check out his forgotten play, The Widowing of Mrs. Holroyd, at the Mint Theater through April 5th. I saw the show, and it definitely shines some light on this quote. The essential function of art is moral, not aesthetic, not decorative, not pastime or recreation. I asked Joel what that quote meant to him, and he said that since art can be moral, it has a duty to be moral. But I want to know what you guys think. Is the essential function of art to be moral, and what does that even mean to you? So please go to our website, which is www.jeremysgreenroom.com, and leave a comment. Also, who else do you want to see in the green room? What would you ask them? Seen any good shows lately? We want to hear from you, because theater is interactive and we urge you to participate in the process. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next time in the green room.